Hey guys, today I saw New York, New York. Well, I didn't say it today, but I saw it last week. But, this is my review of New York, New York. Now, I was looking forward to this because you got Lin-Manuel, you have Susan Stroman, you got, John Kander, and it's a big creative team. And I'd heard good things about it. I heard some mixed things, but I had some good things about it. And so, honestly, having seen this show, having seen the musical, I was a little bit let down. I'm not gonna lie. The opening of the musical, that first song, I was like, Kimberly Akimbo might lose. This might be the dark horse. And then the second song happened, and yeah, then I was like, yeah, no. But the first song is thrilling. They have the New York, New York sign go up, and the guy goes, oh yeah, and the choreography, it felt like an old-fashioned MGM musical. The choreography was in sync, it felt big, it felt like a spectacle, it felt exciting, there was an energy, a pulse. I was like, oh my god, am I witnessing the next big thing? And then it just goes downhill. I just feel like the energy just zapped out after the first number. And the reason why is because the book is very weak. It really feels like, you know there's some superhero movies where you only care about the action sequences and then you skip through everything else? That's what this feels like. Like, they just don't care about the book and the characters, that they want to skip through that so they can get to the next big set piece and big musical number and jazz hands. And I just couldn't sympathize or relate with any of the characters. They didn't feel like they had much of a personality. They didn't feel very well developed. And if you compare it to something like Kimberly Akimbo, it is levels below that. And while this is an original musical, the story is very, like, typical. You know, it's about two people that fall in love in New York and side characters, you know, and there's a lot of vignettes from different character perspectives. And, you know, the actors did great. The singing, the dancing, the sets, the costumes, it was all very, very good. There is a character that I think comes from Puerto Rico, and I feel like that was a bit, like, surface level diversity. You know, I feel like it was, like, it didn't really explore what it meant to be a different person in New York City. It just kind of addressed it. And I feel like that could have been more complex and interesting and a bit of a nicer conversation, but when you have a mainstream musical like this, going there is a bit risky. So, and that's just my opinion. I just feel like it was a bit surface level. You know, they use very stereotypical, like, racist tropes, you know, in the show. Like, not the show is racist, but there's a character that is racist that says a lot of typical things, you know? And so, there was that. I think that, the number when they're on the roof, thrilling choreography. Thrilling. And there's some beautiful moments of amazing choreography, amazing lighting. There's a beautiful scene at the end of Act 2 when the whole theater is covered in, like, a purple lighting, and I was like, whoa, I've never experienced anything like this. I think it was like the second to last number. And I was like, this is what the show can be, and it isn't that. There's like moments of greatness, and then it's just like, eh. And it just feels very like if you've seen White Christmas or like any big fashion musical, that's what this is. It didn't feel very original, it felt very predictable and kind of uninteresting, and a lot of the songs sounded the same. And as grand as it was, it seemed like I wish there was more spectacle, because so much of the set is an LED screen, and I'm like, I feel like you could do so much more with this, and I want to, instead of seeing like a screen of Times Square, let's see a painting, let's see something else. You know, there's a cool sequence when when the orchestra rises out from the pit, and they're in this boat, and it's incredible. But like, I want the set to feel that way too. And so yeah, like, this was, honestly, it was kind of forgettable. Was it good? Yes. Should you see this over like a jukebox musical? Yes, because it's original and it has good things in it. But I wondered, why did people like this musical so much? Why is it doing so well? One, it's because it's very mainstream in terms of it has everything tourists and New York audiences want. Big spectacle, big numbers, a classic love story, your little diversity, pat yourself on the back, choreography, it's got everything. And a little bit of drama, but not too much comedy, and it's not like Shucked where it's like full-on comedy, and it's not like Dear Evan Hansen where it's like right in that perfect middle center. Also, this show thrives, and really I think is succeeding because of New York City pride. Whenever anyone said, don't count out New York, the audience roared. Like, I'd never seen this kind of screaming in any theater. And that's because it really is like a musical that's like go NYC, and so people in New York City love that. So I think there's a lot of people that are coming off the high and maybe giving it a pass because it is so supportive and in love of New York City. And yeah, and I also think that it, you know, again, it appeals to the crowd that goes to see these kind of shows, you know, and it you know, it is very reminiscent of the old movie musicals and, you know, things like Guys and Dolls and stuff, and that attracts a lot of people. And I do wonder how long the show will go and be successful before it falls off, because I don't think this is going to run for 5 years, you know. And I think a lot of it is fueled by the New York City pride and the fact that it's Lin-Manuel and there's a great creative team and people are expecting a lot. And word of mouth seems to be very good amongst people. It's doing better than Shucked in terms of box office. I think it is a much better show than Shucked. Yeah, it's interesting to see how what shows succeed and what don't. But it has all of the elements of a success of how to make a successful Broadway musical. You know, but then you ask, you know, why is Some Like It Hot, which is very similar to New York, not working as well? Well, Some Like It Hot is based off of a movie, and I know New York is, but it's based off a very obscure movie, and you know, New York has a very, like, musical comedy vibe to it, whereas New York almost has, like, it's not categorized, people don't see it the same way they see Some Like It Hot, and I hope you can understand that. Like, even I see New York, and Some Like It Hot is different. Almost, I'd say New York is maybe a little bit more prestigious, little bit more, like, nuanced, you know? It's a bit more, like, top-tier musical comedy. Like, it's not like Something Rotten, you know? It's like that neutral ground that I think is attractive to people, you know? So I'm not surprised that a musical like this succeeded, but I think that I wonder how long it will viably stay on Broadway. You know, how long can this show sustain itself? And I'm very interested to see, because I personally wouldn't have thought it would be doing, like, seeing this show, and you told me it's doing $1 million, I'd be a little bit surprised. You know, I would. But I will say it is a bit of a weak season, and there isn't, like, a second musical besides & Juliet that really is leading the pack, besides Akimbo. So this, I think, is appealing to a lot of people that want maybe a bit more spectacle and want something that's more Broadway than Kimberly Akimbo. It's a good, alternative, you know, substance to Kimberly Akimbo. It's good counter-programming, you could say, in a way, from Kimberly Akimbo. And it is original. But yeah, I think that, again, there's a lot of stuff going for it that I don't know if it would have if it was on tour. You know, I don't, because the New York pride only goes into New York, it doesn't go on tour. And, again, I just think that the market isn't as competitive, and maybe that's why it's succeeding. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, why you think this is working so well, because I'm still trying to figure it out. Now, as for Tony noms, I think it will get nominated for a lot. Personally, I don't think it wins anything except choreography and lighting. I know I said Sweeney Todd could win that, but I think I would prefer New York to win those two over Sweeney, because the choreography and the lighting are the best parts of the show by far. Colton Ryan is very good, but his character just isn't that interesting, and a lot of it feels like very, like, 1940s stereotypes, and, like, yeah, you know, they just don't feel like characters as much as they feel like representative of characters that you know of and seen in older 40s and 50s movies. I give New York, I give this a 6 out of 10. Go see it. I'm overshocked, but it's nothing special, and I do wish them all the best. It is a good production. I just think I was a little bit let down, especially with the script, and I can see why a lot of musicals kind of, you know, people aren't willing to take chances on original musicals, because I was hesitant to see New York after I feel like I kind of been burned from seeing Shucked. And that's the hard part about creating original musicals, is you have shows like Shucked, which I know people like it, but I think a lot of it is that it's not really like, whoa, I saw, like, the next Dear Evan Hansen. You know, that's what you want to come out saying after seeing an original musical. And we see something like Shucked and you pay the big dollars, you're like, well, when I go to see another show, I'd rather see something that I know I'm going to like, that I know I'm going to like the music, and I know I'm going to spend my money wisely on. I think it just goes to show Broadway needs to do a better job at producing or deciding what shows go to Broadway, and really saying, like, you know, is this good or not? Because if we had a lot more Kimberly Akimbos as, you know, shows, more people would take a chance on that, and those shows would do more successful. Audiences wouldn't be settling for, like, something like Shucked, you know? And they wouldn't I like Shucked kind of made me hesitant to see more original musicals, and it's all because of the money. And that's an issue that will always consist on Broadway, because you can't tell if a musical is going to hit or if it's not. But I do kind of starting to realize why tourists pick the safe bets. Because it really does come down to money. And you can't really fix that. That's the way the economy that Broadway operates on and works in. You know, musicals are supposed to fail, so new musicals can come in. That creates the ecosystem that is Broadway, so you kind of need musicals to not do well. But, I think it's, I don't know, I feel like it's maybe just like, when you're creating a show, really think, is it as creative as that can be? Is it as diverse as it can be? Not in terms of, like, color, but in terms of, you know, your story. And, you know, would I be mad spending $130 on a ticket for this? I just feel like Broadway is a bit of a creativity problem. I feel like New York, and Shucked are two musicals that have a lot of potential. One, and Shucked I think could be super weird, and New York I think could just be more interesting. And they just go for very safe bets. And I feel like that hinders and hurts Broadway more than it helps. But that was my thoughts. Like, sub, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.